Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome to SoulSpace podcast number 45.
Yes. 45 days.
We're almost
together.
on a year.
I know. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So today we're going to talk about resistance to change. We're kind of going along with the seasons a little bit. You know, it's late spring turning to summer. It's not hard to change to summer, but
No, but there's a lot of other things going on.
right.
People are graduating from school.
Yeah.
Children are getting ready to transition into summertime and being out of school. Adults
Yeah.
are transitioning into different things. A lot of times, this is a transition time for some people. This is a time that a lot of people actually pass away as well, or move on to their non-physical state on the other side, as I tend to put it.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful time to think about transitioning in your life from this time of rest and beginning your renewal into a time of being busy and a time of doing things and a time of
Yeah.
planting seeds.
Right.
And so it's a perfect time to talk about change.
Yeah.
And today we're going to highlight resistance to change.
Yeah.
And helping us to get through that time, because a lot of us do have resistance to change in different areas of our lives. And so it can be good to recognize that and to help us move forward towards being comfortable with it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And even excited about it. Wouldn't that be fun to be excited for change?
Yeah. For me, I love change, but I'm on most things, I love change, but a lot of people have a hard time with change, even even changing their routine in the day. So, I understand it, but I like it.
Right. And so you're in a time
But-
and a place where you love and you enjoy changing, you embrace it.
Right.
And so that's one thing that is really useful, is you can speak to that. And I can speak to still having some resistance to it. And
Yeah.
we're also, wanting to help you to move towards embracing more change, because I am still in that process where there's
Mhm.
some pieces of change that I embrace and I have joy in, and there's some that I still have resistance on.
Right.
And so we're all a work in progress, and that's what we're about.
Yeah,
It's helping
sure.
you as a work in progress, just as we are.
Yeah, yeah, totally. We're never done, or we aren't here anymore. So, it's, I think it's easier to embrace change, because if you don't, you're making your life harder than it has to be, right? If you can be excited about change, and not all change is exciting sometimes, but if you're just ready for that and can embrace it a little bit, it makes it a lot easier to go through things, especially big life changes. But even like moving or changing jobs or doing other things, doing the big things in life when there's a change, sometimes that's scary and hard. But if you embrace it more and try to look at it as a new adventure, it gets easier.
Right. And learning to accept it
Mhm.
as this happened, whether it's something you wanted to happen or didn't,
Right.
and change is happening, learning to accept it so then you can then move forward
Right.
towards that new adventure.
Yeah.
And see the opportunities that are there in that change, because it is happening. And so to see it as an opportunity rather than a burden. And that's really kind of what we're going to move toward. We're going to take some steps toward today.
Yeah. Yeah. And most of the time when you are going through if it's a major change, excuse me, when it's scary or something that you didn't expect or didn't want to happen, a lot of times on the other side of it is way better than you ever could have imagined.
True.
So if you think about that and try to remember that when you're going through something, of course, not losing somebody or something like that isn't so good, but like, for instance, moving or a job or, something kind of like that, it's a lot of times way better than you thought it could be. Once you're through that muck, and that change that you're going through, it looks way better on the other side. So it can be a really fun thing to do. So yeah, we'll talk about both.
Yes. And I'm excited for it. This is
Yeah.
a fun topic.
It is. on my releasing notes just to make sure. Sometimes I totally blank out on the words to use.
Right. You have it there. And so we're gonna do a couple things today. We're gonna use a couple of tools. One of these tools is one of our favorite books. If you don't already know it, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, one of our absolute favorites, a pioneer.
Yeah.
And one of the things that she highlights in this book is resistance to change and what it is. And then also, which we will talk about next week, how to change. And we're going to go into that. It's going to be really fun and kind of flow from this topic. We're going to keep moving forward.
Yep. Yep. So good.
So
Okay.
I think we'll start with right now in the book. If you have the book, if you don't have the book, that's okay. You can just follow along here. But in the book, we are in chapter 6, which in my book is page 67. But it's chapter 6, resistance to change. I am in the rhythm and flow of ever-changing life. Oh, so good. I love this book so much. Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit and then we'll kind of keep discussing and we'll go through some of the releases using the freedom release method, which if you've never heard about that, we'll go talk a little bit about how to do it. We'll do it together. And if you have more interest in it, we've done other podcasts where we do the freedom release method and explain it in depth. So look for that as well.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to start with reading.
I'm going to take some notes while you're reading of things to release on. So
yes, absolutely. One of our favorite things to do. Let it go.
Yeah. Yeah. So good.
Awareness is the first step in healing or changing. When we have some pattern buried deeply within us, we must become aware of it in order to heal the condition. Perhaps we begin to mention the condition, to complain about it, or to see it in other people. It rises to the surface of our attention in some way, and we begin to relate to it. We often attract a teacher, a friend, a class or workshop, or a book to ourselves that begins to awaken new ways to approach the dissolving of the problem. My awakening began with a chance remark from a friend who had been told about a meeting. My friend did not go, but something within me responded, and I went. That little meeting was the first step on my pathway of unfoldment. I didn't recognize the significance of it until sometime later. Often our reaction to this first stage is to think the approach is silly or that it doesn't make sense. Perhaps it seems too easy or unacceptable to our thinking. We don't want to do it. Our resistance comes up very strong. You may even feel angry about the thought of doing it. Such a reaction is very good if we can understand that it is the first step in our healing process. And I really love this, how she's talking about recognizing what's going on. So you're acknowledging, and then you're acknowledging and realizing that you have resistance in this area. And that tells you that there's something to unpack there.
Yeah, it's always so important to start listening to your body and listening to what's going on in your head, what's playing out in that mind of ours that sometimes doesn't tell us the right things.
But it's always there trying to help us.
Yeah, yeah. And when we pay attention to that, we can catch things right away that, okay, I am struggling with this and I didn't realize I was, or, this is something I can work on, or whatever it is, you can do some releasing on it or do some tapping, or, there we have that whole toolbox of tools to help us get out of those struggles. We don't have to struggle with things so much,
right?
When we know what to do.
Right. And a lot of times what's really interesting is with some of my clients, when I teach them the freedom release method, they're like, this seems a little silly, or it's kind of simple. Is it really going to help me? But then they do it. I'm like, okay, if you agree to do it and you try it this week, and these are what things that we're going to work on, these releases you're going to do it. Yeah. And then tell me next week how it went. And every single time they're like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize how much that was going to help me. And it really did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes the silly things are the things that work.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're not so silly.
When
you think about it, you can make huge strides with a little bit of effort.
Yes.
And, instead of keep on fighting that thing or whatever it is.
It doesn't have to be hard.
Right, it doesn't have to be.
In fact,
hard.
most of
It
the time
shouldn't be, yeah.
Let it be
Life
easier.
is supposed to be fun and easy, our, monkey mind sometimes tells us, oh, we need to struggle, we need to work hard, we need to push through. No, you don't have to.
And that's
There's
why
an
people
easier
sometimes
way.
say that those methods seem silly. It's because it seems so easy.
Right,
And that's why they say that, because it makes them uncomfortable that something could be easy and
Yeah.
work.
yeah, for sure. Yep, it's so good. I know I've had clients tell me, I got through something that I've been holding on to for years and have worked through with a counselor and things like that, that they haven't gotten as far as they have with one session of freedom release.
Mhm.
So, or
And I
a
agree with
session
that.
of tapping,
I agree with
it's,
that, because all
yeah,
those things are complementary. But I have to
Right.
say that when you begin to release things from your subconscious, that
mhm.
really makes
It does.
a
make
world of a
huge
difference.
Yeah,
Fast.
yeah, it's so good. Continue.
Awesome. Okay, I just had to unpack that just a little bit.
Yeah,
I tell people that any reaction they may feel is there to show them that they are already in the process of healing, even though the total healing is not yet completed. The truth is that the process begins the moment we begin to think about making a change. Impatience is only another form of resistance. It is resistance to learning and to changing. When we demand that it be done right now, completed at once, then we don't give ourselves time to learn the lesson involved with the problem we have created. If you want to move to another room, you have to get up and move step by step in that direction. Just sitting in your chair and demanding that you be in the other room will not work. It's the same thing. We all want our problem to be over with, but we don't want to do the same small things that will add up to the solution. Now is the time to acknowledge our responsibility in having created this situation or condition. I'm not talking about having guilt, nor about being a bad person, quote unquote, for being where you are. I am saying to acknowledge the power within you that transforms our every thought into experience. In the past, we unknowingly used this power to create things that we did not want to experience. We were not aware that we were not aware of what we were doing.
Mhm.
Now, by acknowledging our responsibility, we become aware and learn to use this power consciously in positive ways for our benefit. Often I suggest a solution to a client, a new way to approach a matter or forgiving the person involved. I will see the jaw begin to clench and jut out, and arms crossed tightly over the chest. Maybe even fists will form. Resistance is coming to the fore, and I know we have hit upon exactly what needs to be done. We all have lessons to learn. The things that are so difficult for us are only the lessons we have chosen for ourselves. If things are easy for us, then they are not lessons, but are things we already know. Lessons can be learned through awareness. If you think of the hardest thing for you to do and how much you resist it, then you're looking at your greatest lesson at that moment. Surrendering, giving up the resistance, and allowing yourself to learn what you need to learn will make the next step even easier. Don't let your resistance stop you from making the changes. We can work on 2 levels. 1, looking at the resistance, and 2, still making the mental changes. Observe yourself, watch how you resist, and then go ahead anyway. Nonverbal cues. Our actions often show our resistance. For instance, changing the subject, leaving the room, going to the bathroom, being late, getting sick, procrastinating by doing something else, doing busy work or wasting time, looking away or out the window, flipping through a magazine, refusing to pay attention, eating, drinking, or smoking, creating or ending a relationship, creating breakdowns, cars, appliances, plumbing, etc. Assumptions. We often assume things about others to justify our resistance. We make statements such as, it wouldn't do any good anyway, My husband or wife won't understand. I would have to change my whole personality. Only crazy people go to therapists. Sorry, I laugh at that one because that's a ridiculous statement,
Yeah.
but people think that sometimes.
Yeah.
They couldn't help me with my problem. They couldn't handle my anger. My case is different. I don't want to bother them. It will work itself out. Nobody else does it. Beliefs are another thing here. We grow up with beliefs that become a resistance to changing. Some of our limiting ideas are, it's not done. It's just not right. It's not right for me to do that. That wouldn't be spiritual. Spiritual people don't get angry. Men or women just don't do that. My family never did that. Love is not for me. It's too far to drive. It's too much work. It's too expensive. It will take too long. I don't believe in it. Or I'm not that kind of person. Them. We give our power to others and use that excuse as our resistance to changing. We
That's
have
a huge
ideas
one.
such as, this is a big one for people. And a lot of
Yeah.
times people aren't aware that they're doing it
Right.
until they hear something like this and they go, oh,
Yeah.
I didn't realize I was giving away my power.
Right.
And this is a huge one for people
Yeah.
when we work on it. And I know it was a huge one for me too, recognizing
Mm-hmm.
when I'm giving away my power and when I'm using my
As
own
an excuse.
power. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuses are the
Yeah.
worst.
Yeah.
All right. So when we give away our power to others and use that excuse as our resistance to changing, we have ideas such as, God doesn't approve. I'm waiting for the stars to say it's okay. This isn't the right environment. They won't let me change. I don't have the right teacher, book, class, or tools. My doctor doesn't want me to. I can't get time off work. I don't want to be under their spell. It's all their fault. They have to change first. As soon as I get blank, I'll do it. You or they don't understand. I don't want to hurt them. It's against my upbringing, religion, or philosophy. And all of those are poignant excuses. And it's just important to kind of recognize, are you saying any of these things?
Right.
Are you blaming somebody else for your resistance to change and not wanting to change because of what you think is someone else?
Yeah. One thing that I've used it with myself and with clients too, if they say they are holding me back or they don't want me to do this, I always ask, who's they? And really think about that. Who is that? You know, is it you?
Right.
That's not wanting to change. You know, it's an excuse. And one of my biggest lessons that I learned in doing self-development or working, you know, on myself was there's no excuse anymore. There's no excuse. And it was a leader in a network marketing company that I was in a long, long time ago. And they had said, you know, one of the best things you can do for yourself is quit using excuses. And if you can't go to a meeting, whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't need to know that you can't come. Yeah, it might be nice to know that you're not coming,
give a heads
but I
up.
don't need the excuse
Right.
for it. That doesn't matter. Just tell them what you're doing, you know, that I can't be there, whatever, but you don't have to go into the excuses because they don't matter. And when you know that, and you know you're using that just not to go to something, then you're taking the easy way out, or you're not getting what you want, and you're not gonna ever get what you want if you keep excusing yourself out of it, you know.
And you're not recognizing that it all comes down to you.
Yeah.
And that's one thing is,
Yeah.
is it because you don't want to?
Right.
And to acknowledge that is really important because when it comes down to this, you know, I don't want to hurt somebody, or using someone else's opinion as an excuse. It's when it comes down to it, you don't want to because.
Yeah.
So start with that. I don't want to. Acknowledge that.
Yeah.
And that's okay to acknowledge.
right.
But it's taking back your power. I have the power to say yes, and I have the power to say no.
Yeah.
And I recognize that I don't want to, and the why might tell me that, okay, maybe I'm getting ready to be ready.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's a piece of resistance there that goes, oh, I recognize now that that was my reason, but my reason really is that I don't want to. Well,
Yeah.
I have to unpack that because I have said that I want to.
Right.
So I have to figure out how to get around that
Yeah.
and how to release that so I can move forward towards the things that I actually want
Right.
and not just my prior programming.
Yeah. Am I resisting the change or resisting that I could try something and fail, you
Mhm.
know? It, as long as you try, you're good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Don't hold yourself back from something just because of what if, you know?
Mhm.
Do those things and try for change, look for change, because it's can be a magical thing on the other side.
It sure can. And I have failed epically. And I have to tell you, I
And I
learned so
have
much in
too.
that failure that
Yeah.
it really catapulted me into new things.
Right.
And it was awful at the time, but it was a
Yeah.
beautiful experience on
Mhm.
the other side of it.
Yeah.
It created opportunities that I might not have had or given myself
Right.
had I not done it.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. Yeah. It's
Mhm.
it's awesome.
So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to fail. A fear of failure is just another excuse of, well, I don't want to do it because
Yeah. And sometimes it's a fear of making it, because then you have to perform even more.
fear of
You know,
success is
fear of
one of those
success.
things that people don't always realize is going on within themselves,
Mhm.
but it's super common.
Yeah, it is.
Super common. What
Yeah.
if I succeed?
Yeah.
Then what?
Yeah.
That's a scary thing for
Yeah,
people too. And they
it
don't even
is.
realize it until they start moving
Yeah.
towards it. And they're like, well, why am I self-sabotaging?
Yeah.
They're afraid to succeed.
Mhm. That was
Such a
one of my
crazy
big
thing.
ones I had to get through, was fear of success. Yeah. Because then you feel like you have to up it and keep going or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
you feel like you have to stand up to your success. But why not?
What's yeah, like why are we
Why
afraid of
wouldn't
that?
you? Yeah, yeah, I know.
But
Yeah,
it's a thing.
but it is a thing.
It's a big
for
thing.
sure.
It's
Yeah,
a big thing. And
Yep.
so that's something that that we should definitely do a release on, is that fear of success.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
a lot of people have it, even if they think it's the fear of failure.
Right.
Sometimes it's the opposite.
Sometimes it is, and that
Mhm.
it's very true.
Okay. So here's another thing, self-concepts.
Mm.
This is a big piece for a lot of people.
Yeah.
We have ideas about ourselves that we use as limitations or resistance to changing. We are too old, too young, too fat, too thin, too short, too tall, too lazy, too strong, too weak, too dumb, too smart, too poor, too worthless, too frivolous, too serious, or too stuck.
Mhm.
Maybe it's all just too much.
Yeah. I think it was last week I wore my t-shirt that says we're never too old for dreaming. Did I have that on?
Yeah, we're never too old to dream.
To dream, yeah. Yeah, and
Love
it's so true. Yeah. A lot of people think that when you're in your 60s or even 70s or 80s, it's too late to start something new. No, you're never too old to stop learning. You're never too old to learn a new thing or do a new job or
I have a really good example of that. Morgan Freeman started acting in his 50s.
yeah. And he's
Morgan Freeman.
amazing. He's amazing.
So you are never too old to dream.
Right. Yeah. Louise Hay started her publishing company, I think at 65.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Right.
you're never too old.
No, never, never. Old is just a number.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do. You know, your age is just a number.
Yeah.
Old is a feeling.
Old is, I just took a picture of a poster on my vacation that said, old is, I should look at it.
Find
Old
it.
is just, I don't,
Old is just a state of mind, for one.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
so is young.
Yeah, so is young. Um,
Good, we didn't think of that ahead of time.
Yeah. old is an attitude.
Mhm.
So true.
Absolutely.
There's many people that are old before they're old because
Yes.
of their attitude.
100%. I agree with you 100%. And there are people that are young, way into their hundreds
Yeah,
because of their attitude. And I
Yeah.
know one who's turning 101 in July.
awesome.
And
Yeah.
he eats like a teenager.
That's awesome.
All right, so we're gonna go through a couple more here before we move on. So another one is delaying tactics. Oh, this is common.
Mhm.
Our resistance often expresses itself as delaying tactics. We use excuses such as, I'll do it later. I can't think right now. I don't have the time right now. It would take too much time away from my work. Yes, that's a good idea. I'll do it some other time. I have too many other things to do. I'll think about it tomorrow. As soon as I get through with blank,
Mhm.
as soon as I get back from this trip, this time isn't right. It's too late or too soon.
Yeah. Those are really good ones. The busiest people can get way more done than someone that isn't busy at all.
Yeah.
And I know that for myself. If I'm busy, I get twice as much done as if I don't have really anything on my agenda for the day or for the week or whatever. I don't get anything accomplished because I like to have a time schedule or a deadline.
Yeah.
And maybe that's from working in newspaper for years.
That's
I had to
the
live
thing
by the
is-
deadlines, but
But that's the thing is, once you start one thing, it leads to another and another and
right,
another.
yeah,
But if you never start one thing, it doesn't
Yeah.
lead to another thing
Yeah.
necessarily.
yeah,
So
that's true.
exactly. And with freedom release method, if you say you don't have time for it right now, well, do you have 10 seconds
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
one release? Oh,
Yeah.
yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
Denial.
Mm.
This form of resistance shows up in denial of the need to do any changing. Things such as, there's nothing wrong with me. I can't do anything about this problem. And that's giving away your power hugely.
Mhm.
I was all right last time. What good would it do to change? If I ignore it, maybe the problem will go away. And there
I
doesn't
got
have
it.
to be anything wrong with you to change. In
Right.
fact, there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
And you should change.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we can always get better and better. and
Always get better and better.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the joy of life is continually improving and learning and becoming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fear.
Yeah.
Here's one. All of us have some fears, right?
Right.
By far, the biggest category of resistance is fear. Fear of the unknown. Listen to these. I'm not ready yet. I might fail. They might reject me. What would the neighbors think? I'm afraid to tell my husband or wife. I may get hurt. I may have to change. It might cost me money. I'd rather die first or get a divorce first.
Wow.
I don't want anyone to know I have a problem. I'm afraid to express my feelings.
Mhm.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't have the energy. Who knows where I might end up? And that question could be really fun or really
Yeah.
depressing,
Yeah.
depending on your attitude, right?
Yeah.
I may lose my freedom, or you may gain your freedom.
Yeah.
It's too hard to do. I don't have enough money now. I might hurt my back. I wouldn't be perfect. I might lose my friends. I don't trust anyone. It might hurt my image, or I'm not good enough. And on the list goes. Do you
Mhm.
recognize some of these as ways you resist? Look for the resistance in these examples. A client came to me because she was in a lot of pain. She had broken her back, her neck, and her knee in 3 separate auto accidents.
Mm.
Yet she was late, got lost, and then was stuck in traffic. It was easy for her to tell me all her problems, but the minute I said, let me talk for a moment, all sorts of turmoil began. Her contact lenses began to bother her. She wanted to sit in another chair. She had to go to the bathroom. Then her lenses had to come out. I could not keep her attention for the rest of the session. It was all resistance. She wasn't ready to let go and be healed. I discovered that her sister also had broken her back twice, and so had her mother.
Wow.
Another client was an actor, a mime, a street performer, and quite good at it. He bragged about how clever he was at cheating others. especially institutions. He knew how to get away with almost anything, and yet he got away with nothing. He was always broke, at least a month behind on the rent, often without a telephone. His clothes were tacky, work was very sporadic, and he had a lot of pains in his body, and his love life was zilch. His theory was that he couldn't stop cheating until some good came into his life. Of course, with what he was giving out, no good could come into his life. He had to stop cheating first. His resistance was that he was not ready to let go of the old ways.
Yeah, that's something that, a lot of people get stuck in that rut of their old ways, or, my parents did it this way, my grandparents did it this way, so I have to do it this way. No, no,
No,
we don't.
no, you don't.
Yeah, and
There are no have tos.
no,
You don't have to
No.
do anything.
yeah. And it's just so weird to me that, and I can see where they're coming from, but once you get out of that box, it's really hard to stuff yourself back in it.
Yes.
And there's so many people that stay there, and maybe it's the comfort, even though they're miserable.
Yeah.
They're so scared of change that they can't let themselves do something different in their life.
But here's the question to really ask yourself if you're in that situation.
Yeah.
Do you want this situation to continue as it is?
Right.
Or would you like something better?
Mhm.
And then when you answer that question for yourself, then you can know what direction to go into. Because if you don't want that situation to continue, something has to change. And so
Mhm.
figuring out where your resistance lies can help me figure out what needs to change within myself to change my situation in the direction of what I want.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So good. I like that you said that. We're never stuck.
No.
We're the ones that make us stuck.
Right.
You're the only one that can get yourself out of that. So, work on yourself, start noticing what you're saying to yourself.
Yes.
That mind isn't you. And that's a hard thing to remember.
That inner monologue, what are you saying to
Right.
yourself?
Yeah.
And is it mostly positive
Mhm.
or not? Because
Yeah.
that might be your first step to look at. If your inner monologue is not positive thoughts,
Yeah.
then that's where I would start.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's your best indication of what's going on, because God wouldn't talk down to you. God wouldn't tell you you're not good enough, or you're not smart enough to do this job or do this thing or whatever it is. So God is the one that's speaking in your head when you have good things going on. When you are thinking negatively or putting yourself down, that's not your inner guidance.
No, that's programming.
Yeah.
That's programming that's not serving you anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel good to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of it is, ancestral beliefs, or, from when times were hard.
And things that you
And,
learned throughout
yeah,
your life.
the things that you've seen, or, our grandparents went through the Depression, so they carried that energy in ourselves, and we carry it with us, but we can let go of it. We're in the place where we can let go of that and move on and make a better life.
Right. Absolutely. And you have the power to do that. And we are in the business of giving you the tools to do that.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
we're also going to continue
Yeah.
to do today.
Yeah. Yeah. So what else do we want to read here? A little more. Mirror work, we've talked about that a little bit. She talks about it here. The mirrors reflect back to us our feelings about ourselves. They show us clearly the areas to be changed if we want to have a joyous, fulfilling life. I ask people to look in their eyes and say something positive about themselves every time they pass a mirror. And that's a really good practice to get into. And it's really hard for some people.
It is.
I remember doing a workshop once where we had little mirrors, hand mirrors, and we were supposed to look into them and say, I love you to ourselves. And there were quite a few people that couldn't do it at first, but by the end of the workshop, they could do it. And it felt so good to see everyone do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that mirror work can be hard, but so powerful.
Yeah,
and
it really
opening.
is. And it makes a lasting impression on your inner being.
Does.
It's
I love
good.
mirror work. I struggled with it when I began.
Yeah, I did
Too.
too. Yeah.
Mhm.
And to really look in your eyes in the mirror, that's something fun to do, because soon you'll see your eyes looking back at you in love rather than being scared to do it. And you can see the change in your eyes when you do it. It's awesome.
Yeah, from kind of like trepidation to love.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
really cool. Let's do the repeated pattern. Well, I'll read that part.
Yes, that's a good section.
For every habit we have, for every experience we go through over and over, for every pattern we repeat, there is a need within us for it. The need corresponds to some belief we have. If there were not a need, we wouldn't have it, do it, or be it. There's something within us that needs the fat, the poor relationships, the failures, the cigarettes, the anger, the poverty, the abuse, or whatever there is that's a problem for us. How many times have we said, I don't ever want to do that again? Then before the day is up, we have a piece of cake. Been there, just today. Smoke the cigarette, say hateful things to the ones we love, or so on. Then we compound the whole problem by angrily saying to ourselves, oh, you have no willpower, no discipline. You're just weak. This only adds to the load of guilt we already carry.
Oh, and how mean. Would you say that to someone else?
Right. Yeah,
No.
you would not.
Saying that to yourself
ever.
tells you that you have a problem.
Yeah, it does. And I'm to the point where I've learned the lesson, but I still eat the brownies and I don't have guilt about it.
But here's the thing. You can eat brownies.
Right.
There's nothing wrong inherently in eating brownies.
Yeah.
It's how are you eating the brownie?
Okay, whatever.
How
Yeah.
and why
Yeah.
might be the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're doing it out of boredom or because you're pissed off or
Yeah,
something like
emotionally,
that.
things
Yeah.
like that.
then
Versus
it's-
this brownie looks delicious. I know I'm
This
going to
brownie-
enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to enjoy this one piece while I have it.
Yeah.
That's so good. That's the space you want to be in
Yeah.
for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And if you're not, then you know there's resistance there.
Right. Yeah. So it has nothing to do with the willpower or discipline. Whatever you are trying to release in our, whatever we are trying to release in our lives is just a symptom, an outer effect. Trying to eliminate the symptom without working on dissolving the cause is useless. The moment we release our willpower or discipline, the symptom crops up again. Yeah, so true. Willingness to release the need. I say to clients, there must be a need for you, a need in you for this condition, or you wouldn't have it. Let's go back a step and work on the willingness to release the need. When the need is gone, you will have no desire for the cigarette or the overeating or the negative pattern. One of the first affirmations to use is, I am willing to release the need for the resistance. Write that down. So that's a really good one, yeah. I'm willing to release the need for the resistance, or for the headache, or the constipation, or the excess weight, or the lack of money, or whatever it is you're working on. I'm willing to release the need for. If you are resisting at this point, then your other affirmations cannot work. So, yeah, we really have to learn to release that resistance to needing the things. And you know, that is really prevalent. When you're pushing for something, it's getting farther and farther away from you. And we learn that with the law of attraction.
Yes.
You know, we want to be that thing that we want in order for it to come in. So we really have taught on that aspect a lot.
Yes.
But sometimes it's hard to get that to sink into our head, when your light bill is due at the end of the week and you still don't have the money for it, it's hard, but if we can know to our core that we're always taken care of and everything is always working out for me, then we'll get it,
Yeah, and that frustration shows you that you have resistance
Yeah.
and that you need to release the need.
Mhm. Absolutely. And there's always something you can do to make a few bucks when you need it. When you need it.
Yeah.
When you,
And you
when
know what?
thing
Good things
arises.
can always come to you as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes, and we talk about also following your guidance
Yeah.
to it. So, once you're in that space of non-resistance, then you follow your guidance and then things lead you to this and that and the other thing, and pretty soon you have everything that you needed or wanted in that moment.
And more.
And more.
Yeah. And not using the excuses
Yep.
to get you where you think you're getting out of it. You're just delaying what you have to do to get what you want, So, yeah.
Yep.
So good. Okay, the webs we create around ourselves need to be unwound. If you have ever untangled a ball of string, you know that yanking and pulling only makes it worse. You need to be very gentle and patiently unravel the knots. Be gentle and patient with yourself as you untangle your own mental knots. Get help if you need it. Above all, love yourself in the process. The willingness to let go of the old is the key. That is the secret. When I say needing the problem, I mean that according to our particular set of thought patterns, we need to have certain outer effects or experiences. Every outer effect is the natural expression of an inner thought pattern. To battle only the outer effect or symptom is wasted energy and often increases the problem. So true.
Absolutely.
Let's read this one more piece and then we'll do some releases. How about that? And then there's a cool poem we can
do that at the end.
Yeah, that part. I am unworthy creates procrastination. If one of my inner belief systems or thought patterns is I am unworthy, then one of my outer effects will probably be procrastination. After all, procrastination is one way to keep us from getting where we say we want to go. That's so true.
Very true.
Most people who procrastinate will spend a lot of time and energy berating themselves for procrastination. They will call themselves lazy and generally will make themselves out to feel that they are bad persons. So when you are procrastinating about something, take a look at what you're doing and know that it's just you. That's just your head telling you that, go through it, get past it, start taking a little baby steps to where you want to go and what you want to do. And you're going to get yourself out of that real fast.
Right. Start somewhere.
Yeah.
In the direction.
Yeah.
Even if it's doing something else
Mhm.
you're doing, and
At
that's moving you
least.
towards
Yeah.
accomplishing that goal that you're beating yourself up about not doing.
Right.
You're moving towards it. At least you're creating motion so that you can start to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true.
Mhm.
All right, let's do some releases.
Yes. Should we start with the ones that you have, and then we have those lists too?
Yep.
We can do some of the releases on as well.
Where was this? Oh, right there. And fear.
Denial and fear, two of the big ones.
Yeah. Okay. So, freedom release method, if you haven't done it with us before, there is a video on it, but I'll just give a short explanation. So it's a simple breathing technique. You breathe in, hold your breath. When you hold your breath, it puts your mind into a flight or fight mode. So it's easy to release the things that are in your subconscious that are holding you back when you're struggling. All you're thinking about, your conscious mind is thinking, I need to breathe, but so you can really work easy in your subconscious when you do that. So we're just holding our breath. We'll say a statement, either Chris or I will say a statement, and you think it in your own thoughts, your own words, and then you just blow it out. So you breathe in, hold it, we'll say a statement, breathe it out. And you want to blow it out and make sure you're making an effort to get rid of it. That's one thing that a lot of people do, and I fight with this with clients all the time. You got to blow it out, you know,
Blow it
you're
out.
not just, you make an effort that you want to get rid of this, you want to release it. So blow it away from you and get it out.
Blowing it out with intention.
Right, yeah, good word. So anyway, you blow it out. So that really releases from your cellular memory, not, you know, your subconscious and your cellular memory. And it really can get rid of a lot of things from your grandparents or your ancestors that went through rough times or whatever it was, you know. And you can really make some huge strides by doing that and using your intention to do it with.
Yes.
So we'll do some releases and then we're going to do fill-ups, and the fill-ups are done the same way. We'll just say them in a different statement as if it's already done. So that takes the place of the things that you released in your mind and, you know, fills them up with some good thoughts so the bad things don't come back so easy.
Yeah,
Right?
love it.
Okay, so let's start. I'll do a few and then you can do a few. Should we do it that way?
Sure, why not?
Okay, breathe in and hold. I release any resistance with knowing that I can have anything I want. Good. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance with change. It's a big one. And something I forgot to mention, while you're doing releases, sometimes you'll yawn or sneeze or cough or burp or fart or bodily functions happen.
They do.
So allow those to happen. Don't hold it back, because then you're holding on to the release.
Right.
You know, we want to let that go. So if tears come or you yawn.
I yawn a lot.
Yeah, I yawn a lot too while I'm doing them. So just let that happen and we'll go slow enough so you can watch the replay and catch up.
Yes.
Okay, so breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that change can be fun. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that change can be a fun adventure. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance that knowing that change is good for me. Good.
That's a yawn one.
Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that when I'm impatient, I'm resisting change. Good. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that I have the power to transform any situation. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that it's okay to succeed. Good. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that I am worthy of all my desires. Good. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that I am good enough. Okay. I think that's it for me.
Good, good, good. All right, so take a deep breath in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that if I acknowledge my problem, it will help it go away. Take a deep breath in and hold. I release any resistance to, I know it is a good thing for me to change. Take a deep breath in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that it is natural for me to change throughout my life. Take a deep breath in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that I'm all right, but I know I can be great instead. Take a deep breath in and hold. I released any resistance to knowing that I can do things about my problems, and it's good to do so. Take a deep breath in and hold. I release any resistance to, I'm ready for good and positive changes. Take a deep breath in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing I am ready for change. Take a deep breath in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that I am okay with rejection from others. Take a deep breath in and hold. I release any resistance to, it's okay for me to be accepted by others. Take a deep breath in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that what other people think of me is none of my business.
Good one.
I think we'll take like a little shake pause.
Yeah.
One thing that's good is to kind of move your body, shake a little
Yeah.
bit, get a drink of water. If you start feeling lightheaded at all, please take a pause.
Woo.
Zoom tight. Please take a pause and allow yourself to just breathe naturally until you feel better again. Because sometimes people, if you're not used to oxygenating your body so much, if you're not used to deep breathing,
Whoops. Almost sneezed again.
that's hilarious. See, sneezing. So if you're not used to oxygenating your body and your brain so much, sometimes it can be overwhelming. So take a pause this video and come back, because it's okay to take a pause and it's good to take a pause.
Yeah, yeah,
You know.
yeah. And you should shake it out, take a drink and do that in between, because that helps the process
Right.
a lot, if instead of rushing through.
Yes. And we're moving energy, so it's really good
Yeah.
to hydrate as well, to help your cells to replenish and to let go
Yeah.
and to detox out.
So true.
Absolutely
Okay.
beautiful. Should we do a few more?
Yeah,
I think
sure.
we should.
Okay.
Okay. Don't me to start and then you can do some?
Okay.
All right. Take a deep breath in and hold. I release any resistance to, I am always free. Take a deep breath in and hold. I release any resistance to the idea that there is no reason to fear that my freedom can be taken away, because it can't. Take a deep breath in and hold. I release all resistance to the idea that I always have enough energy. Take a deep breath in and hold. I release any resistance to, I am always free to express my feelings. Take a deep breath in and hold. I release any resistance to, I express my feelings freely. I think that one's a deep one for a lot of people there.
Yeah.
All right. I feel like I'm done with those ones. You want to start a
Okay.
new set?
Sure. Okay, let's see. Did we do some on here? Yeah.
We did do some of those, and I did some of the fear ones as well.
Okay. All right. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that we're never done. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks of me. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to thinking that spiritual people don't get angry. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that I am loved. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that I can do anything I put my mind to. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to thinking that this is too expensive for me. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that I am way different than they are. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that it's okay to ask for help. Okay, breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to thinking that I don't want to be a bother. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that I am good enough. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to wanting others' approval. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to making excuses. That you might have said that now. No?
Too
I think too hard about it.
stopping making
Yeah.
excuses, or
Yeah.
we can do
That's
that
what I
again.
meant. Let's see.
So letting go of making excuses.
Right, that's better. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to letting go of using excuses. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to using someone else as fault. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that I am worthy. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that I am smart enough. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to thinking that I am stuck.
No.
Not stuck. Do it again. Breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that I'm not stuck. But no, that's not right.
Never.
Because we don't want to
I've
use
never-
not,
I've never stopped,
that I am able to do.
that I'm always moving forward.
Right,
That's a good
okay,
one. Let's do that.
breathe in and hold. I release any resistance to knowing that I am able to move forward. Okay,
That's a good one. I like that one.
yeah. And breathe in and hold. I release all resistance to having to be perfect. Because as you see, we never are. And we need to get over that, you
And
know?
laughing for me is really good sign, because perfectionism is something that I continue to work on for myself.
And we're doing a workshop tomorrow night here on that.
It's gonna be wonderful. I'm
It's
so
gonna be
excited because it's a
wonderful.
surprise for me tomorrow too, so.
It's gonna be so fun, yeah. So if you're in our area, it starts at 6:30,
Yes.
but I need RSVP, so I have enough supplies because it's a creative workshop, but
Yeah.
it's gonna be so fun.
It's gonna be, should we do a couple of Phillips?
Yeah, we'll do some fill-ups because that was a lot.
We did a
Probably
lot.
interesting, and I shut my book, but we can probably do it off the cuff, huh?
Oh, yeah,
Kind of.
just
Here-
a few really
here
good
it
ones.
is. Okay, so breathe in and hold. I'm filled with love, joy, and appreciation because I know I am worthy of everything that I want. Breathe in and hold. I'm filled with love, joy, and appreciation because I know the change can be fun. Breathe in and hold. I'm filled with love, joy, and appreciation because I really do love adventures. Breathe in and hold. I'm filled with love, joy, and appreciation because I have the patience to see it through. Breathe in and hold. I'm filled with love, joy, and appreciation because I know I can be successful. Breathe in and hold. I'm filled with love, joy, and appreciation because I trust myself. And I have one more. Breathe in and hold. I'm filled with love, joy, and appreciation because I always trust my inner guidance. Okay, you have some?
Yeah, I have a couple. Let's do a little shake, do a little shake. All right, you guys, we're just gonna do a couple more. All right, you got this. All right, take a deep breath in and hold. I am filled with love, joy, and appreciation because I know I am worthy. Take a deep breath in and hold. I'm filled with love, joy, and appreciation because I know I'm perfect in my imperfection. Take a deep breath in and hold. I'm filled with love, joy, and appreciation because I know I have the energy to do everything and anything that I want. Take a deep breath in and hold. I'm filled with love, joy, and appreciation because I know I'm ready for change whenever it comes. Take a deep breath in and hold. I'm filled with love, joy, and appreciation because I know that no matter what, I've got this.
That was good.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love Phillips. So whenever we release, we always fill back up with positive energy and
Mhm.
positive thoughts and positive beliefs.
Yep, and it feels so good, and you should feel lighter, feel more filled with joy. It really does help your state of mind. So whenever you're feeling lower or feel your energy isn't quite right, just do a couple releases and it really helps.
Yeah.
Helps you throughout the day.
And it takes seconds to do.
Yeah.
All you have to do is, okay, well, how am I feeling? How do I want to be?
Mhm.
Start with that, release those things, and then fill back up with what you want.
Yeah, it's so good.
It could be less than a minute.
Yeah,
Easy peasy. Everybody has a minute at some point.
right.
You have a minute when you're turning the key in your car.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And you're waiting for the light to change green.
Yes.
Yeah, so good. Thank you for being with us today. That was fun. That felt good.
That was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, we're gonna read the poem. I
I
forgot.
want to leave you all with, she always has a little bit of a poem or a meditation or a prayer at the end of each chapter, and it's always so beautiful. So I figured we'd end off with that today
Yep,
and be in good vibes for the rest of the day.
yeah.
In the infinity of life where I am, all is perfect, whole, and complete. I see any resistance patterns within me only as something else to release. They have no power over me. I am the power in my world. I flow with the changes taking place in my life as best I can. I approve of myself and the way I am changing. I am doing the best I can. Each day gets easier. I rejoice that I am in the rhythm and flow of my ever-changing life. Today is a wonderful day. I choose to make it so. All is well in my world.
I love that. So good. Well, Carissa, where can we find you on the interwebs?
Well, if you want to find me, I'm on Facebook at Light of Hope Healing. We have a Facebook that's our collective Facebook, which is our SoulSpace. And then you can also find me on Square at light of hope healing .square.site, which maybe I'll need to change that at some point. Tracy, where can we find you?
I am at inspiresignals.com, and there are links also on there to my Facebook page and Instagram, and that they are both at Inspired Signals.
Wonderful. Well,
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
we look forward to seeing you next week, and we're going to continue on this odyssey of beautiful change and how to help you do so in this new season.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.